All right, guys, so another video podcast live at MHI. This time I'm with Ryan Hill, the owner of Suncrest Capital.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
It's good to be
No
here.
problem, man. So, first thing, just to go over kind of brief overview, how many units do you guys have under management now? What states are you mainly focused in on?
Yeah.
And just kind of overall size of where you guys are.
Portfolio. Yeah, so we own 20 mobile home parks and 3 RV parks and 1 retail center. On the mobile home park side, about 1,300 spaces. About 70% occupied across the board. Yeah.
Nice. And are you guys mainly like a syndication deal by deal basis, or you're a large fund, or what's
Yeah,
the
it's
style with it?
we've had some one-off deals, but a lot of them have been syndications with So we multiple portfolio acquisitions. So we started in 2019. So we've scaled fairly quickly with buying 3 at a time to six at a time. So
So starting in 2019, just for people watching to help kind of the newer guys that want to get into owning mobile home parks, whether that be raising money, buying them, or just trying to buy their first one, and then later we'll talk about actual operations. What was your kind of arc and foray into real estate in general? Like what's your professional background, and then from there, how did you get into the mobile home park space?
So I was in education for 22 years. So I was a high school science teacher, and then the last 7 years as elementary school principal. So during that time, I was a residential agent for like 12 years. Then we moved from Washington to Idaho. I didn't want to restart that. So I had been educating myself on mobile home park space and talking to other owners. So
how'd you even find out about it? Were you like boot camp, Frank Rolf guy?
No.
Did you just know about trailer parks? Like what was kind of the...
Somebody said, these are great investments. So I was like, okay, let's find out why. So I just started listening to podcasts, connected. My original mentor was Ryan Naris.
Nice.
So he helped me out. So I haven't done a boot camp. Just learned a lot of maybe more expensive lessons than if I'd gone to a boot camp.
Actually in the field, learning the hard way.
So we bought that first one. It was a 19 space park, so a great starter park. It was like $270,000. Used a HELOC for the down, and then it was owner finance for the rest of it. So
where was that at?
Just south of Kansas City.
And that was back in 2019.
2019. Yep.
And were you located kind of?
I was in Washington State, so I had been trying to find them close. Couldn't find them that would pencil. So I started looking nationwide, and LoopNet, Crexy, I didn't have any connections. So I found the one that had been on the longest.
Cool.
And then
low ball offer, see where it goes.
And then worked out the seller carry on it, and it worked out.
So when you bought the park, did you have that first one, property management experience, or were you like, all right, I have tenants for the first time?
Nope.
Let's figure it out.
No experience. So out of state hiring. It was actually the inspector who did the inspection of the park and the park-owned homes. His wife ended up being our property manager, and now they are both they've grown with us. So she's our asset and project manager for the whole company now.
Cool.
And Doug does a lot on the infill and works with the RV park. So. It was trial and error, but hiring somebody local, boots on the ground.
And then, so from the first park, was it like, all right, let's successfully turn this around, and then did you raise money to go like number 2, number 3? Or when did you start kind of buying parks? And then I know eventually at some point now you're in like big scale mode now. But how'd like the second to third park go? Did you end up raising money for those, or what was it?
No, so the second park is less than a mile from the first. So that one was an off-market deal. And that's when I had met my business partner now, Brett, and he'd had experience in syndications and underwriting, like more than me.
So he knows more like the polished route.
The financial side, and so we bought that with a friend at the time, and so that one was like $195,000, similar size.
So another small, easy, kind of low capital.
And the next one was the 4-park portfolio, which we syndicated. So that was, Brett had that background and knowledge, and so that's the power of partnering up with people that have strengths you don't, right?
So like we came across together on who was the guy you were partnered with before? I think. Dan
Reese was one.
Dan Reese, Then you guys aren't partners anymore.
No, we're still on that second part. We still own together. And Dan, he did some things with us, but he's kind of doing his own thing.
Okay, cool. Because I remember like there was the one outside of Kansas City in Augusta.
Lacine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the 2 original parks were.
And then
Yeah.
I think it was to Dan, I don't know if you guys were involved, a small little 20 unit on the north side of Wichita.
Yeah,
wasn't-
we were for a little bit. We didn't
Yeah.
close on it with him,
Okay.
but he bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because I know we like crossed paths
Yeah.
a handful of times over the
Yeah.
past. So I fizzled out from you guys, just
Yeah.
coincidentally, like I don't know, like the Kansas market, I haven't known to call you on something,
Yeah.
just because I've been kind of off the radar
Yeah.
with what you guys have been working on. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was like lack of focus in that region or what, but yeah, we got to definitely get more deals done together. But
Yeah.
all right, so you syndicate the next few deals, and
Yep.
then when was the formation of like Suncrest Capital?
So Suncrest it started with like Brett, Dan, and I started. It was a different company name,
Yeah.
and then when we bought that 4-park portfolio in Iowa was when we started Suncrest. So that was like 2020, 2021, somewhere in there.
And then like Suncrest Cap, is that more like just kind of like a proper kind of branding of your guys' group and
Yeah.
the syndication
Yeah.
and everything?
So it's just the umbrella company, and then we do our own in-house property management. So every park has its own LLC, and then regional managers, park managers.
So with operations and scaling,
Yeah.
and like these are questions I personally have. Obviously, figuring out the first few small parks, you're hands-on
Yeah.
probably. You probably went out there, you're like,
Yeah.
let's see if I can
Totally.
figure out if one of these tenants want to be a manager or help me out.
Absolutely.
But at what level do you think it makes sense, like either having a proper regional manager, or when do you get to that level? Like some people tell me, as soon as 100 pads, you should start looking at like standard operating procedures. Other people are like, once you get to like 350 to 500 in there, like what was it for you guys as far as like, okay, we need to put real processes, treat this like a legitimate company, not just one-by-one deals?
Yeah, I think when we got that 4-park portfolio,
That was a big jump up.
Yeah, it was a big jump, and then so that really the next park that we acquired to add to it, is when we were like, we need a regional manager, because it was literally me meeting with each individual manager, and at the time I still had my W-2. I was elementary school principal. Just wasn't sustainable. So so that's when we decided. So about 4 to 5 parks has been the magic number for us to have some type of.
How many
regional.
total units like between the
That was about 450.
Okay, so you're kind of within that range that
Yeah.
I've been told before. Because I'm not into operations side at all.
Yeah.
Purely brokerage. I'm on the fence whether it even makes sense to jump over. I know long term, obviously owning parks way more wealth and scale and stuff. But man, the lack of liquidity is a tough one. You know? It's kind of nice getting the money now versus.
It is, yeah. And you'll find the balance eventually, right?
Like, once you have a few successful refis or exits, then it's like, all right, money's coming in and cash flow and stuff.
Yeah.
So, how do you and Brett meet?
How do we work together on it?
Yeah, how'd you guys first meet? Just in the beginning?
No, we met through my son's lawn mowing business, actually.
Okay.
So
cool.
So
him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're mowing lawns kind of in the neighborhood and stuff? Nice.
Yeah, in the neighborhood, right?
All right, so you're an entrepreneur. You're about the money. All right, that's cool.
So he was mowing Dan Reese's lawn.
Yeah.
I had just come back from Kansas from that first park. I was replacing a roof, like hands-on, like tearing roof off.
Nice.
And so I told him what I was doing, and his eyes lit up, and he's like, "No way! I was just talking to my buddy Brett, so about mobile home park," and that's how we got together to buy that second one. And Brett's more. He takes care of the financial side, investor relations side, underwriting. I'm much more on the operations side.
Okay. So that was my next question. What are kind of the two roles that you guys fill? And as far as raising money for the next deals, was that a major challenge, like when you had the 4-part portfolio? Or did Brett already have the background? He knew guys with capital, and it was a kind of easy plug and play. Once the numbers made sense, you had other contracts.
We got lucky. So out of the 3 sellers of that portfolio, 2 of them reinvested back with us and brought a lot of their friends and family in as well. And from that, a lot of them have invested in our other deals. So I'm not, we didn't have a lot of investors on our own outside of that.
But it really snowballed from the first successful and then...
And showing that you can hit your returns and all, so just building that track record has really helped get additional investors.
And then now that, obviously you're established, you guys probably have really good systems and processes in place and like big scale. As far as like raising money and like what you offer to investors, are you guys like very structured, like, hey, we do 6% preferred return and like 70-30 split on the back end, or like what's kind of your
Yeah.
your quoted returns? Obviously, it varies deal
It
by
does.
deal, but
Yeah.
like what's like the typical like return metrics
Yeah.
you guys are targeting?
Typical, the pref is 8 to 9%.
Okay.
We also have an open-ended fund.
Yeah.
That's 8%, and we've purchased properties that way.
Yeah.
But most of our deals are like dedicated syndications.
Do you prefer kind of syndication or the fund? Because I know the fund, you have a little more wiggle room on performance because it's kind of blended among
Yep.
all the properties in the
Yep.
fund rather than deal by deal. So like, what's kind of your preference?
Yeah.
Or does
It's-
or you're in the operation, so you're like, if a deal's good, no matter how you buy it.
Yeah,
you know,
I think eventually we'd like to use the fund for everything.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people, they like the syndication, they like to see that deal's finances.
Yeah.
So we've done anywhere from like 60-40. We've even got, the very first one was a 50-50.
Yeah. But on smaller parts,
Yeah.
that makes sense because
Yeah.
it's less. Yeah.
Yeah, so every deal's been different on the splits for investors. So
With deals now, since your experience, when you're looking at like evaluating a deal, like what are the key metrics you look for?
Uh-huh.
Do you guys like, well, just knowing you guys obviously you like value add, but not crazy turnaround infills,
Yeah.
or are you starting to like infills? Like what's kind of the
Yeah.
the styles you like? I know infills
it's
suck because there's always a lot of,
It's changed for
Yeah.
sure. So early on, we were definitely looking at negative cash flow properties out of the gate. So like, we're going to infill this thing, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then it took way longer than we thought.
yeah,
And it's painful
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a lot of ways.
And more capital intensive.
And
than a lot of-
more capital intensive than you would have ever thought. So now we look for a minimum 6% cash on cash day one without
Yeah.
doing anything,
Yeah.
which is the limit. We only bought one property last
That
year.
makes sense. It's tough. It's tough to hit that number.
Yeah,
Especially.
but I think it's way less brain damage
Yeah.
going after those and dealing with those than the heavy infill. There's a lot of money to be made on those, but it can be
It's tough.
painful.
Yeah, it's tough work.
Yeah, and we're not in a position now where we necessarily have to do that, right? We've been in it a while. We can find better deals. We can source them through off-market, pocket listings, that type of stuff. So.
And what's been the main deal sourcing strategies? Like, are you broker relationship related with the pocket listings, or do you guys have like your own VA teams cold calling, or in this case,
Yeah.
if your son's cold calling too, that's
Yeah, he's cold. But we have a small cold calling team in state,
yeah.
and we've closed on 2 deals that way.
Okay, so it's worked out.
Yeah.
some success.
So 50% have been listed, say 10% cold call and 40% pocket listings.
Yeah.
So it is, dealer relationships are huge on that side.
Yeah, and then so like 6% cash on cash. That's really like the main
Yeah,
driver. I know there's other
like
factors,
a minimum now. Yeah, we've just actually changed. So like minimum 2 million, 75 to 100 is kind of minimum pad size we're looking for, unless it's close by places we have, and it's a home run financially.
Yeah. And like, as far as like bolt-ons with nearby parks, and this helps me know like what to kind of call you on too.
Yeah.
Like, would you look at as small as like 20, 30 pads if it's nearby, or?
Yep, we've bought those. They're like a mile down the road, 40 space park, 30 space park. We've bought those. Yeah.
So I know we were talking about Miles Waterman's portfolio
Yeah.
in Springfield. So how'd you guys find out about that?
So that one was through Tanner, Tanner Byers.
Yeah.
He's broker. So it was not widely marketed at that point, so essentially a pocket listing. But it was really through one of our mentors. He's a top 3 owner, and he owns like 25,000 plus spaces, like big.
Yeah.
So it would have never come across our desk at that point with what we own, but it came across his desk, and it didn't make sense to him. But he's like, "You guys should buy this."
Yeah.
Like, okay.
No, so Nate, he's a new guy I just brought on, so he's based in Missouri, and any chance you'd look at it? I think I left you or Brett a message, RV park in Joplin. I know RV's not really your thing, but it's monthly.
No, we're
orders.
buying RV parks.
Okay.
So we own 3 now, and we have 1 under contract.
Okay.
So we did. Yeah, you sent that to me. I sent it to Brett.
Yeah.
He said he was interested in it. So I think we sent it to our underwriting team.
Okay.
So we underwrite 3 to 5 deals a week.
Yeah.
So we use a team from India.
Yeah.
And then if it hits our metrics, then it comes back to us and we dive in deeper.
Yeah, because that one I think is like a true 10 cap, clean profit loss statements. For like a mom and pop RV park, I know clean profit loss is like rare.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's one of those that I'm like, oh, for it's smaller, but it's
and we own an RV park in Fort Scott, Kansas, so it's not that far from Joplin.
Yeah.
And we like Missouri. We have a bunch of parks in Missouri.
Yeah. So I was training him on like how to research, set up a map, and kind of target properties around it. And that's when I was like, oh, like because I knew Miles sold his portfolio. When I clicked on it, I was like, let's research it. And I saw you and Brett, and I'm like, oh my God, they're the ones who bought it. I was curious how it came about. Tanner's a great guy. He's a good broker.
Yeah.
So, that's cool.
He held that deal together, and that is like the brokerage side sometimes it's more psychology and counselor than anything, right? To keep deals together, and so he did that for us, and so.
So what's like the plans going forward? Are you guys kind of just stabilizing your main portfolio and then buying when good deals come up, or are you guys like in a rapid fire mode? Because I noticed that you guys have like a nice revamped kind of website. It seems like you're starting to do a little more marketing, going a little wider with the approach. So are you guys looking to try and scale up to like the even larger portfolio? Or
definitely larger. Yeah, we have ambition for that in a more conservative way than we have in the past, I think.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we only acquired the one property last year, and it's the interest rates and market conditions drive that too. But while doing that, we've been able to really focus in on our current portfolios, dialing in systems, because we were growing so fast, there was a lot of blind spots. So really focusing on the collections, on fixing infrastructure issues, infill, rehab. So just making our core stronger, and as we're tacking things on right now.
And you guys mainly infill new homes. Like, what do you have a preferred home supplier?
So we bought 47 brand new legacy homes. We ordered them in 2021, so pandemic. And we weren't ready for them when they started arriving. Like the pads weren't, the piers weren't there. So we're at the tail end of finally getting them all installed and sold. So you make mistakes. We bought too many too soon. We weren't prepared for them when they arrived. So we're catching up. We're there. We're in a good spot now. But new homes have their headaches too. Even on the warranty stuff, they're missing parts, and we've had entire walls blow out from plumbing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and so things happen. Used homes, you're going to have stuff happen too.
Are you usually infilling like 2-bedroom, 1-bath single wides, or 3-bed, 2-bath? Like what's
we prefer the 3-bed. It can be 1 bath, but 3 beds.
Higher rents.
More our parks tend to be more family oriented, so more bedrooms are better. We do have some that are like seniors, and so smaller 1 and 2 bedroom will sell. So
and then typical cost per home. I know it varies obviously where it's getting delivered and everything, but
so
when you guys are underwriting, what's like your because this will help me underwrite and know like if deal makes sense for you, like cost per house on the infill and then pad prep kind of assumptions. I know that always varies too. Like I always plug in somewhere between 10 to 15K pad prep, whether that be updating some of the infrastructure or something, but then like home costs, what do you kind of plug
so
in
if it's used home costs, we're probably
that could be anywhere.
So 15, 20,000, whatever it is. And then, but for a new home, we underwrite about 20 to 22,000 on the full set. So that's from piers to decking and skirting. And that's what we're finding, because we didn't underwrite it that much, and so we ran into some capital issues there. So 20 to 22, 25,000 for the full deal for new homes, and then the cost of the home. However you're doing that. Legacy financing, buying them, flooring them with 21st, whatever it is. For used homes, 10,000 is usually where we're underwriting for pad prep.
Cool. And then, as far as like infill quickness, how many homes a year do you kind of assume? If you were doing infill, I know you're trying to get away from heavy infills now, but
on our underwriting, we assume 0 infill the first year, even if we're planning to do it.
You're just trying to stabilize, clean up management and rents, or
we're still going to do it. We're aiming to do it, but on our underwriting. In the past, like we said, we're going to infill 20 20 this year. That's like we got 5, right? Like when you first start,
obviously you always think, oh, we're going to fill this whole community.
So we've done opposite now, where we know we're going to infill, but in our underwriting, we put 0 in that first year and then start infilling. So it's just more conservative. So if it still works that way, then it's going to work. So
very cool. So you guys are pretty conservative.
But our infill plan, our underwriting's pretty intricate. So we put how many homes per month over the 10-year span that we're planning, and so it helps us with our cash projections on that side.
then are you guys usually trying to, obviously larger deals that like can qualify for agency debt, it's more preferable, but is like a lot of your strategy try and roll up and refi into agency debt, or?
Yeah, so the 6-part portfolio that we bought from Miles, they're almost agency grade. They need, like, you need paved driveways, you need paved, so they don't have paved driveways, for example, so we got to do that. So our goal is to refi a number of those into agency.
Long-term agency.
But and we are looking more and more at agency quality now, where when we first started, that was a dream, right? Like,
you're just like, let's just get into whatever we can get. Good if it pencils, but now it's, you're thinking long term, what's going to And then when you're exiting or refining, are you cashing your investors out of it? Okay.
Cool. So our goal, 3 to 5 year refi, so getting the investor cash back, and then they're still getting their returns for the rest of.
They still stay in the deal for.
They do, which is different than some. Some
are
just
like
say
5
peace
years,
out.
Peace out. It's us. It's ours.
So no, our investors, they keep the returns coming, and then it's a 10-year model. So after.
So you're underwriting the 10 years.
Cool. So either refi again at 10 years, and then they're done.
So investors are super safe with you guys because you're only buying in-place cash flow, long time horizon, so there's no risk of capital calls in 3 years because we effed up.
We've done zero capital calls. And we've had situations where we've had to put in our own money to fix something, but we want to avoid capital calls at all costs.
So actual solid operators for those of you listening. Some of the
it's scary out there right now. What's going on?
I've been surprised. Some of the people I don't want to say, I've done podcasts with a couple that were like they were telling me like kind of the underwriting metrics, assumptions, like the splits and like what they offer investors, and I'm like, how the fuck are you raising money? But you guys are like well above board with what you're doing. I mean, it makes sense why you guys have like scaled consistently, it seems.
And we've gotten more conservative, just over experience. Like, you make some spendy lessons and don't want to do it again.
Are you guys looking at raising money a little more like retail style investors where it's a little wider now? Because I know it's like you just having as soon as I see like syndications putting up nice website, clear branding, it's like, okay, they're eventually going to try and go wide. Is that kind of the goal?
So we have a targeted social media campaign to target more. We like fewer investors with bigger checks, right?
Do you guys do like webinars for like the next deal?
We do, So every one of them we do an investor webinar.
Cool.
We walk through the high level underwriting, all of the metrics with the economics, the workforce, job base, all of that, just so people get comfortable with what we're getting into.
Have you had any luck kind of raising from the social media kind of avenues yet?
We're starting to.
Not so much, Because I noticed you're not, like a few guys are starting to do like the webinars, whether you put out like maybe free guides or free content, and then it routes to the webinar for our next pitch, and then build up your email list, and you can kind of.
It's mainly we're doing more of that now, just even in the last few months. But it's really been as we have deals, we're doing the webinars, and then we're pushing that out on social media, and So we work with Syndication Pro as well, so people have links to be able to see the past deals and all that fun stuff.
And then do you have like a media guy that kind of handles the branding and stuff like that? Or?
Brett does a lot of that.
Okay.
But we're hiring VAs to do that now, and companies that manage that part of it. So.
Last few questions, just so we don't get too long with you. But the VAs, not VAs, your cold call team local, because I'm always curious being a broker, like different strategies that work for you. Is it very just straightforward? You're just having to put hours on the phone. You guys figure out your research. It's like, hey, let's start getting the phones, and then just hook the line for us. You guys will talk to them, obviously, reel it in. And do
So we provide the lists. So we've sourced those all from VAs, from other owners, whatever. They're calling $12 an hour. We're paying them.
Cool.
And then 1% of the purchase price.
So they can make good money if they get you 2 or 3 deals. They're making legit money.
We cap it at $20,000.
Okay.
But but
if they find you a $20 million portfolio, they're like, I need 200 grand.
We found one of our cold callers found a 4-part deal in the Wichita area. They're asking $32 million for. It didn't hit where we needed it to, but that would have been a pretty sweet commission.
Cool.
So
nice. Well, dude, this is great talking and everything. I appreciate you coming out. If someone wants to not only get in touch with you, but get on maybe your investor distribution list or anything, like what's the best way someone can get
So our website, Suncrest Cap, so cap.com, so Suncrest Cap. They can sign up for our email distribution list.
Yeah.
So any deals coming up, we do quarterly updates on all our portfolios, good and bad and ugly. Like because we've invested in deals where all of a sudden it turns south.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
So we're up front.
Yeah.
Things go sideways. But anyway, you can sign up there, get on Syndication Pro.
Yeah.
So it's all legit. It's all, so
no, you guys are like
Yeah.
super polished and
Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
Brian,
awesome.
thank you so much
Appreciate
for
it.
coming on, man. Yeah, anyone definitely reach out to him. Of all the syndicators and different operators that I talked to, you guys have like actually rock solid underwriting, unlike
Appreciate it.
some other people. So
Yeah.
no, I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Good stuff.
Yeah.